Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Apostate Weekly. I'm your host, James.
And I'm Ryan.
Hey, and I'm Ken. I'm joining you today.
Yes, we have an imposter here with us today with a nice bow tie. But welcome, Ken.
Thank you.
So this week we are covering several stories, including the one that I teased with you last week about Philip Brumley being a liar. Ooh, what a piece of work he is.
Shocker.
I'm really shocked.
We also have an update on the Peralta bomber this week and quite a few more stories coming your way. So with that being said, let's run the intro and we'll get into the show. All right. We are back at you.
Love that intro.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Quite excited. I am as well.
Yes.
And thank you for being all prideful today as well.
Of course. Hello. We have pride and
right.
pride.
It is Pride Month after all. And also, we have another special announcement to make this morning.
Ooh.
Tomorrow will be my dad's 70th birthday.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Happy birthday, you old fart.
Oh, wow.
You've reached it.
Happy birthday, Dad.
I would just say happy birthday. I'm going to leave out the old fart because I'm creeping right up there. So.
He's my dad. You know, it's all good.
He's allowed to.
It's true.
I've earned that right after almost 42 years of being his son.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for
morning.
joining.
And we are now back on one channel again, officially. So hopefully we can get the views up and on this like we were on our other streams that we had.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be fine over here in our little island, our own little island, our gay island.
It's going to happen. Yeah, it's a big gay island.
That's why we invited you. We wanted like the grand opening of our big gay island to be with none other than Ken.
I don't think I have a big gay following, but
we'll get you one. We got to get you a big gay following.
So can we call it a gayland?
We can.
A gayland.
A gayland.
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 Like, well, I mean, Guyland.
Do you think it's kind of like Candyland, where you get to play, those little miniature gingerbread people, but they're all from RuPaul?
Oh, yes, please. As long as there's not like an old witch in the woods somewhere ready to bake me up, lure me with the candy.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's who that is.
Oh.
Big back butch bitch.
Yo, man, the videos on that was just insane on TikTok.
Oh my God. When I was cracking she deserved every moment of it. Like, I mean, it's a shame that our legal system is just such a mockery. It's a big joke. We can make memes out of it because it really is just a joke. But anyhow.
And some people are more memeable than others.
Oh, very memeable.
I'm expecting to become a meme today.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe Jonathan can hook us up with that.
Jono, you got this.
Jono's our memer.
All right.
He'll have that meme in the Discord before the end of the show.
I know he will. So what's our first news story today?
I was going to ask the same thing. Who wants to go first?
You can go first. Ladies first.
I was going to say, shall we let our guest go first?
Sure. Hey, that's what I said. Ladies.
Oh, well, thank you.
See, Ryan and I were on the same page with that. Sorry, Ken. You got to get with the joke.
We love Ken.
It was like there was a setup joke, and then I just was the butt of it.
And we didn't even know it was happening.
It happened. I apologize, everyone. I have to put on my glasses, and you're going to get a little bit of a reflection here, but it's the only way that I can see enough to talk about my story. So here's the Clark Kent version of Ken. And there we go. So I'm actually talking about a story from Nigeria today. A gentleman by the name of Samuel, and Samuel was interviewed regarding his mother. So Samuel is a former Jehovah's Witness. He grew up in the faith. Has 3 siblings. All of them are married, and then of course his parents. His mother in about 2019 started coming down with an illness where she was having some headaches. She was starting to feel like her head was getting quite heavy. So they took her to a doctor and discovered that she had blood pressure issues. So financially in Nigeria, of course, when it comes to medicine, things were quite expensive. So he graduated from a university, took on a job, and was primarily paying for her medicine, for this blood pressure medicine. So her condition, though, deteriorated. And within about a year, she went from being a thriving late 40-year-old woman to being a woman who appeared to be in more of her 70s or 80s. And they show pictures in this article. It was quite astounding what she went from to and how quickly it happened. So over the years, they've struggled to figure out what was wrong with her. And Mrs. Samuels, she actually started developing a growth about a year ago. So in her neck, it's looks from the pictures, it almost looks like a goiter, but he describes it as a boil. And it's large enough now that it started to close off her throat. So the point of the news story was actually to bring attention from the Sun to the fact that the mother could have a life-saving surgery, but because her blood level has gotten so low with this sickness, it has caused it to where she can have this surgery immediately. They can remove the growth. She could be back to new, but she won't do it because of her refusal for blood. So blood transfusion was the highlight of this news article itself. Samuel was talking about how he has taken a job that is roughly about 12 hours away, or 450 miles is what I was able to equate from the article. And 80% of his income is just going to pay for her so she can have medicine just to keep her around, because he's saying in this article that he's not ready to let go of her. It's a tragic story that is very difficult for the rest of us to hear, because I feel like we've heard it 100 times coming from a platform where they're praising this situation as opposed to realizing that someone's life is being lost here, simply because of a rule, and it's a rule that I realize Jehovah's Witnesses hold dear, but it's held closer than the sanctity of life itself. And I primarily had chosen this, and I apologize for kind of stealing the stream here for a moment, but I'd primarily chosen this article because I'm working on a video currently. In the video series, I know we were joking about Jono a couple moments ago, but at the beginning of the year, he had brought out kind of an initiative called Shun No More 2024. And since then, I've worked on several videos with some amazing volunteers, doing quite a few different takes on what Shun No More would stand for. And my next video that I'm working on right now is actually in the vein of what this article was just talking about. And that is the people that we've lost due to shunning and policy within Jehovah's Witnesses. So people who have lost others due to refusal of blood transfusion, refusal of other medical procedures. And one of the biggest portions, and I know that YouTube gets a little funny about this, so I'm gonna use it in a different term, but of people unaliving themselves. And I know personally, I have been close to 3 witnesses who due to leaving and shunning have done so. And I've spoken with many others who have also experienced the same. So I kind of want to bring this to light. This video itself, I'm calling jw.morgue, because
Ooh,
it is
I
kind
like
of
that.
falling. It's just something that I would like to kind of bring attention to, on the fact that, you know, too many people are getting a toe tag due to policies and unaliving themselves due to those policies as well. So I wanted to highlight Samuel's story, though. I'm really kind of looking for, and I sent a message out to the editor of the paper itself, just looking to see if there's any type of financial assistance, you know, a GoFundMe or something that has been started on the behalf of Samuel, since I know that he's, you know, so far away from his mother right now. And I mean, from the sounds of it, for the past 6 months, she's been on a liquid diet. So, you know, if she continues to choose the way that she is, which statistically, as we know, it's likely that she will, you know, he may lose her as well. So I'm working on that, and of course I'll be sure to share it if I can find it, you know, in case anyone wants to be able to help him out along the way as well. But and then I'll share additional details, of course, over on Facebook and with regards to the video that I'm working on. So if anyone knows of someone that they've lost due to policies, shunning or blood doctrine, or any reason on why someone within the Jehovah's Witness faith has lost their lives, and you'd be willing to be a part of this video, please let me know. It'll just be some short video clips and some questions that I'll ask, and then we'll highlight, of course, whoever that person is as well.
And it's interesting you talk about that, though, because recently I've been seeing on Twitter from Larchwood that there are some new updates on like the blood stuff going on that they wrote up for children and the hospital liaison committee, and they were encouraging people to be more proactive about the refusal of blood transfusions, basically, and going so far as to have a lawyer involved in this if necessary. So that way, in case the doctor tries to petition the judge to override your wishes, that you already have your legal recourse in place to stop them up from doing what they're trying to do. So they're really, really trying to kill people even more with these new updates, which is just absolutely terrible.
It's insane the lengths that complete strangers are going to save these people's lives, and they are just writing it off and refusing it.
Yeah, it is.
I can't imagine. And I mean, many people of faith out there, but I can't imagine that that any deity would wish that upon them. You know, I mean, being parents ourselves, you know, if God is supposed to be the Father or the deity, you know, a Mother Earth or anyone that you worship, but if you as a parent were watching your child suffer and there was something easy that could save their life, would you stop? There's no way in hell. There's just no way.
No,
All right.
I agree with you. I would do anything I would give my own life for my child. So there's no way. I mean, if there were a treatment, you know, even if it were, I mean, this happens all the time, cancer treatments, different kinds of therapies that may not be mainstream or still being discovered. You know, if that were the only thing I had left, like, let's do it. Yeah. I'm down to do anything that could possibly help my child, and to simply write them off. And all, like you said, all the scientific research, the doctor's knowledge, and that's nothing.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you know, you got to think with these new instructions they have, they are telling them to hire a lawyer. So now you got lawyers' fees to pay. You have to pay the doctors, which if you have insurance, you're still not saved, even in America. You know, people still get exorbitant hospital bills, even with insurance. And doctors and lawyers aren't cheap. and Jehovah's Witnesses aren't educated enough to make the funds enough to pay for all these doctors and lawyers that they need. So they're really getting the short end of the stick on this deal.
And make sure you donate as well. Don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget. Give us your money too, what little you make.
Make sure you throw that into the mix. Can't forget who you owe your life to. Jehovah.
Yeah.
So with that going on, then it's a nice little segue since we were talking about lawyers. Let's talk about a watchtower lawyer right now, because these guys here are kind of crummy. So Mark O'Donnell has updated us on what is going on with Philip Brumley, and if you remember, he was fined over $154,000 by federal judge Susan Waters for submitting multiple misleading and false affidavits in 2 Montana child abuse cases. So this guy's trying to lie to a court of law, and he's being caught. He tried to convince the court that Watchtower had no involvement with the congregations in the 70s and 80s and should be eliminated as a defendant. So these claims that he's making are very underhanded, are very victim blaming, and not letting the organization take any responsibility for its own actions. And I'm so glad he's getting called out on this and getting fined. And so goes on here that the documents obtained by the attorneys, which if you recall the series that Mark O'Donnell and his wife were in, they talked about how there was those stolen documents from that Kingdom Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And these helped with these cases here on this. And so these documents showed that the abuse victims had strong connections between the Pennsylvania Corporation and Watchtower New York, as well as the day-to-day operations. So here's what the judge stated about it. She said, Brumley's actions demonstrate, at a minimum, a reckless disregard for providing an accurate and truthful accounting of Watchtower Pennsylvania's role. The smoking gun documents were sourced not from the Jehovah's Witnesses, but from whistleblowers who left their religion and turned them over to activists supporting abuse victims, which is what I was just talking about a minute ago. Brumley appealed the decision by Judge Waters to the Ninth Circuit Court, and the appellate court has dismissed his appeal today. The Jehovah's Witnesses have already paid the fines issued by the court, and Brumley's reputation has been severely damaged due to his misleading and false statements. And the 2 Montana child abuse cases continue to progress towards their respective trials, which are scheduled for August and September of this year. So that's a whole lot right there when a judge is telling a lawyer that he's being underhanded and lying to them. And what kind of reputation can you have as a lawyer? I mean, even in any business, really, if you're a known liar, it makes me think of the movie. I don't know if you guys ever seen it with Jim Carrey, Liar, Liar.
Yeah.
Remember at the beginning when they were asking, what their parents do for a living, and the little kid goes, "My dad's a liar."
Yep.
And the teacher's like, "A liar?" He's like, "Yeah, well, he wears a suit and he talks to a judge." She goes, "Oh, you mean he's a lawyer?" And he's just like, like, what's the difference? And this is exactly what Philip Brumley is doing. He's being a liar.
What an embarrassment. And to be caught out like that with your pants down.
Yeah.
I also, I like, I don't know if like is the correct word, but it's an interesting projection to the world out there of what Jehovah's Witnesses are, because that's who he's representing right now. He's representing Jehovah's Witnesses, and he's representing them as liars. So we all grew up with the, what's the terminology that's used? I'm blanking on it right now, but essentially that we need to make sure that we are projecting out what a Christian should be, and who we are as Jehovah's Witnesses, and yeah, not making Jehovah look bad type of situation. And this is exactly what that's doing to anyone that's not a Jehovah's Witness, which is probably why they're moving more internal and trying to pull back people who used to be, because the reputation isn't looking too shiny for people who have not been.
They also are known for their members not knowing what's going on inside their organization legally or otherwise, other than what they're shown on jw.org. So they're not going to exactly present this to their people saying, oh yeah, our own Watchtower lawyer was caught lying and we had to pay these fines. They're not going to tell their people that. They're just going to only tell them what good victories they had and what good things happen. Use the other stuff around the world as their persecution porn to keep their people in line. And that's about the only bad things they're going to hear, is the things that are happening to them, but not the things that they self-induce upon their own members.
I feel at some point they're not going to be able to hide some of this, but what do we need to do to get him disbarred, Brumley? Who do we have to, like, who do we write? Is it probably somebody in his state?
Maybe the Bar Association.
But it's like per state, I'm assuming, right?
I think so.
State has okay.
Unless, but I mean, if he practices in multiple states, there may be a nationwide chapter of it as well for that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Smart. I don't know how all that stuff works. But
it's not very smart. It's just we don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've not really ever been well educated in how this world works. I would love to either do some kind of email or like tweet at whoever, if there's a possibility that it would reach somebody, to have this man looked into.
And if anybody knows any lawyers out there, please have them contact us and answer that question for us, because we'd really love to know.
I probably can do with a little research if there's some, it might just be like the state rep or something tweeting at them and just maybe giving them an article to read through as to why he should be disbarred. We'll think about it. We can talk about it later.
Let's go ahead and move on.
Yeah, I have my first article is about Miss Rachel. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of her, but she's like a child. Oh, sorry. What?
Oh, good. Here's my meme.
Sorry. That's the wrong
Welcome,
article.
Everyone.
Welcome to Big Gay Island.
I hope no one thinks I'm Miss Rachel now.
Survivor, Gay Island.
Ooh,
I don't know if any of us are making it out alive. Thank you. That was from Jono. That was our friend Jono. We know he's the master of all memes. But no, I wanted to share Miss Rachel because she's a true delight. She loves to foster confidence in children, education, discussion, non-judgment. And of course, it's Pride Month. So she spoke up, a very sweet message of, just be who you are. There's nothing wrong with that. The post that she made garnered something like 120,000 likes and I think like millions of views. Well, of course, it sparked outrage from the far right conservatives, and they're coming for her neck. I hope that she remains strong because she seems like such a very sweet, kind-hearted person. And she's been like at the center of attacks before because she's stood up for other, all gay rights. She's always stood up for people because she leads with love. That's just very important with her. So I hope that she is able to stay resilient against them because they have not run her off of these apps, but she has had to take a break. So I'm hoping that she does not let it bother her. She stays strong because my kids aren't even that young, But I just, when her TikToks come across, I'm like, what is like good woman teaching children actual values in being a human being? So I wanted to share like a good story of sorts, like a positive role model. But the downside is that whenever you do speak up about any of these atrocities happening in the world, you are going to be the target of hate groups, and most of those groups are using the Bible as their weapon and their shield. Um, Very frustrating because it makes you almost defenseless, because if you try to speak back, then it's like, oh, you're shaming me and my religion. Wow, I'm a victim. Meanwhile, they're the one hitting you over the head with the law, figuratively and pretty much literally. So please, if you ever come across Miss Rachel, it's Miss Rachel, yeah, Miss Rachel, give her a like, follow, and if you have children and you want to introduce them to subjects like this, not sure how, I think she's a good role model in that. That's all I have for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I want
Yeah.
to say I made a mistake at the beginning of the show when I said the Karalta bomber update is not Karalta. It was the Austria bomber.
Mm.
We already got the Karalta bomber update, and that was all
Okay,
done.
I thought
want to
maybe
make
there
that
was something
correction.
else going on there.
No, I made a mistake in saying that.
Well, it's just
So-
sad that there's so many that we can get confused at this point.
I know
That's-
it is. It's absolutely terrible.
This is too much.
But this is the Austrian bomber. I mean, like, come on, like we don't have enough of these people, do we? So they found out who the guy was now, and it was a 55-year-old guy. And he was a Jehovah's Witness. He was an IT technician. And the reason why he did it, because he was trying to kill his ex-wife after a long dispute over alimony.
Whew.
Yes.
People don't get how bad domestic violence is inside of the organization because it's covered up with smiles and Bible verses.
And, apparently he was a witness from 91 to 2011. He was married to a witness woman. And just after a years long dispute over of the divorce, in last year is when he apparently made the decision to try to kill her. So he did say, though, and I don't know if this makes it any better or not, but he was only trying to kill his ex-wife and not trying to harm any of the Jehovah's Witnesses.
It's interesting that he chose that public of a venue for it.
Exactly.
There has to be more to that, and from a psychological standpoint, again, we all know, coming out of this religion, the psychological damage that happens from it. And thankfully, most of us process this in a more constructive and better way. And this type of tragedy, it's becoming more and more prevalent, and
It really is.
just
what's the deal?
Something snapping.
Something. And I think that's what you're seeing. You are seeing people faced with living two different realities. You could, like, back in our day, at least for me, you leave school, you come home, and now you're finally in your Jehovah's Witness world, right? So there's only like a portion of the day where you're not in your Jehovah's Witness bubble. But now, because of technology, because of the way our jobs, because of online social media, it's almost as if it's always smacking you in the face just how different you are, and just how you might not see it as behind, but it is, you're behind and not understanding the concepts, like I mentioned before, how this world, the system itself works. And I'm not using system as like Jehovah's Witnesses use it. I just mean, like capitalism, colonialism, all that kind of stuff. I didn't know how to recognize them. And once you start to deconstruct those things, you realize that in that JW bubble, you're so shielded and you are infantilized. You really are like a little baby.
Enemy of God, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it starts at infancy, all of that diabolical talk about separating yourself. And now it's like almost impossible. Like you're fine. Now they're going to be even dressing like the world. And
Yeah.
I think these changes are necessary. I don't see
Right.
them as bad per se. I mean, there's pros and cons. But you're going to now find a lot more people snapping, as you said, I think, because it's more difficult to differentiate.
At least in this case, though, with this particular instance, and I'm not saying this is all instances, though, the congregation there at least has some form of relief knowing that the guy is caught, and hopefully this
Thank goodness.
isn't going to be a pattern for them anyways. I know this has been a pattern going on around the world, but hopefully in that area it's not a pattern.
And I think it warrants a mention as well that if anyone out there is having, issues where they're dealing with a lot of pressure and, maybe needs to reach out and get some help, that they need to do so. I mean, thankfully, and I don't know anyone who has done something, that level of despicable in that area. But, I do know several people who have done things that are beyond what you would think that they would do. I know that's very vague, all of that, but like,
We get what you mean.
I just, if someone is having any type of issues psychologically to where the pressure is getting to them out there, get help. Please just seek help. There's no shame in it. There's no harm in it. Like, please just get some help. Contact a counselor. Contact someone who can help to heal that.
Yeah.
And if you hate your ex-wife. Like, keep the bombs and keep everyone else out of it.
Yeah, right. Like we are entitled, and I think that is part of the problem, is that we stuff our emotions because we were never allowed to express them. I still have so much difficulty with getting at the heart of my true issue and expressing the true issue, because everything just kind of goes into one emotion, because you never were able to separate them out. Like, oh, I feel sad, I'm depressed. Like, you're not allowed to feel that. You can only feel happy. Oh, I'm mad because somebody, or you're not. Why be mad? You should be joyous. Like, there's always a reason why you can't express the emotion that you're feeling. And nowadays, like, oh God, I'm like, what is it? What am I feeling? What is something wrong with me? Is this normal? Like, yeah, it's just human emotion. You just don't know how to deal with it.
And maybe, just maybe, this guy was trying to say that his ex-wife was da bomb.
Whoa. I feel like I might have to go off screen for a moment. Like, I don't.
It was a literal. It was just his way of a literal interpretation of her being da bomb.
He could have went to Hallmark.
But honestly, like, it's not going to get better. I feel like this is just the tipping point, and that does scare me. And it isn't our fault. It's not because if there's anything that apostates are doing. This all has to do with the psychological damage that is incurring against these people on a daily basis because of the rhetoric that they spew, the vile rhetoric.
And think about this, in that article, it was talking about the fact that he was a witness from 91 until 2011. So, I mean, we're dealing with someone who has been out of the religion for over 10 years. Wow. That psychological damage doesn't just stop when you walk away.
No, I think that shows people that is the case. I'm always going to be deprogramming. That's how I feel. I mean, maybe when I'm like 70, it'll be different. But right now, it feels like I'm just going to be continuing to peel back those layers and trying to find a better understanding of who I am as a person outside of that J-Dub bub. J-Dub bub.
The J-Dub bub.
J-Dub bub. Sipping bub. No, don't drink it. Sorry.
No Kool-Aid.
You have any other stories, Ryan?
No, I only had that one story. So if you have whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna run through my last one real quick and then wrap up the show because I need to get going. But I didn't want to leave this one out, and this was the Spanish Association of
He
Jehovah's
didn't want to leave
Witnesses.
it, but he's frozen. There he is.
Oh, hello.
I'm still here.
There you are.
There you
I
go.
lost you for a minute.
I don't see me freezing on my end, so
apparently it's our fault, Ryan.
That's right.
It's all the J-Dub's fault.
No, Ryan. We have a new guy to blame now. We can blame Ken.
Blame me. I got shoulders.
That's what he's here
I
for.
can hold it.
Oh, we love Ken. He's amazing.
He's our new resident scapegoat.
Blame the gang. Happy Pride.
So this is if you remember, we've talked about the Spanish Association of Jehovah's Witnesses and how they've been trying to bring their activism into Spain to bring recognition. They want to, I think ultimately their goal is to get the religious status of Jehovah's Witnesses removed from Spain. And of course, we all know that takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me stop sharing this one here. For our viewers, if you remember when we talked about this before, Ryan actually did an interview with Dr. Carlos Bardavio, and this is the video right here on the screen. And she discussed the trial that went on in Spain with him. And this is, a little over a year ago now when you did this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to her channel, you're going to have to scroll back to find the video, but it's there. I promise you, it's still there.
It exists.
It exists because I looked it up just before the show, and there it is. So go check out that interview so you can get to all the preliminary stuff. And then now coming to today, the witnesses are still fighting this association because they don't want their reputation to have a bad name. And that's all this is about. It's all about them trying to keep their image all shiny and clean in the public's eye in Spain. Of course, they try to do that all over the world, but we're just talking about this area right now. So
they wanted this Victims Association to remove Jehovah's Witness from the name. They were trying to force their hand.
They wanted to remove the word victim from their name.
Yeah.
And then, so also from this article, the Jehovah's Witnesses started one of their famous letter writing campaigns as well. So, I mean, do they really have any effect? No. These places probably just see, oh, Jehovah's Witness, throw away. I wouldn't give it any mind either, because it's just some written script that was given to them of what to write to their government official. Because if you remember, well, what year was it? 2016, 2017, when they had us all write those letters to Russia.
Mm-hmm. It's just empty platitudes. It's all just like, don't judge us. We're doing it because of this scripture. We have every right.
So, and if you want to read a good article on the historical context of this, here is the article from avoidjw.org on it as well. This was published when this all first started happening as well. So you've got a video to watch. You've got an article to read. You've got a new article to read. All the links are in the description below. So what are you doing, people? Go catch up on your news.
We have homework now.
Yeah, got homework.
Chop, little onion. Yeah,
but
Dr. Carlos Bardavia is brilliant. He's amazing, kind, has done so much for that group. advocacy work, and I have no doubt that he will continue to push this case as far as he can. I think he's like a psychologist or something. He has all these things going on in his head. Like, he understands the interworkings of a cult. So he is like the best guy for the job.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show here. So Ken, thanks for joining us today, buddy. It's nice having you.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. I also wanted to say, make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to share, because we gotta boost this channel up. So
look at this guy, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
We bring him on for one show, and he's already taken over our jobs.
We're gonna have
what
to
are we
hire
even here
you,
for?
And thank you, James and Ryan, for joining us State Weekly this week.
Please be certain Ken's links are in our description. His channel, his TikTok. He's put out some amazing videos about stopping shunning. Would love for you to take a look at those and give a like, share, boost on your channels.
Yep.
Anything is appreciated, but Ken deserves a lot of appreciation for the hard work and effort that he's put into education and just kind of getting the word out on how harmful shunning is.
Thank you. I do want to give all of that appreciation, though, that you have to the volunteers. I mean, it's the people that are a part of these videos that are actually that they deserve the praise. Every voice matters. They're getting themselves out there, and I'm just a part of that cog. So thank you on that. But if anyone would like to volunteer on the newest video that I'm working on, or any future videos, please do message me. I'm happy to have as many volunteers as possible. If I have to make an 8-hour video, I will make an 8-hour video, and you all will love it, by the way. Just saying.
And he's promising to pay $20 per volunteer. No, I'm just joking.
And James will be supporting us to that. So,
via Ryan's bank account.
That's right.
Oh my goodness, we just circled here.
Speaking of which, before we close out, just a FYI, the GFM is going swimmingly, Jonathan said. I mean, James, you said if you want to mention the GoFundMe for Martin's son, Samuel.
Speaking of that, I think I have, there's the link for it in the comments as well, if you want to go help out with that. Yes, it's going well. There's been over $900 so far in a week, so we're trying to see if we can get some more help for him. The life celebration he's going to have for his son will be on June 30th. He just announced on Facebook, and this is for Martin Hawk's son, Samuel. So if you have it in your hearts, please help them out with their expenses for this hard time.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out as well, I was going to throw this on my Facebook with the next share. If excuse me, I have a cat that thinks that he's joining me in just a moment. If every person on our Facebooks just donated $1, I mean, $1, nearly everyone can afford $1. If every person donated $1, imagine the amount of money that could be brought in for them. So just kind of think about that as well. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, just a little money.
No, honestly, it's just a bunch of people donating small amounts that makes the goal fill very quickly. Yep. And that can be done just by skipping your $5 cup of coffee for one day and just passing that over to our good buddy Martin for all he's done for the community.
Yes. Okay. Well, with that, thank you for bringing that up. And that being said, we will see you all next week. Hope everybody has a great week, and we'll catch y'all later.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.